This next piece was a bejeweled floral headpiece that was in a Hawaiian flower show in 2018. I wanted to create a headpiece that had a hibiscus flower look to it because that is their national flower. I started out with trying to decide how was I going to make a flower out of materials. I started with banana bark, which is here. This is what it looks like when it's been cleaned up a little bit, and it's a little wet from, I soak it in water so that it's a little pliable. You can do this with other kinds of bark as well. When you get things bark wet, thin bark such as birch bark, it will become a little more pliable. Then you can go online and find all kinds of patterns for paper flowers. And I found a pattern for hibiscus, glued them onto the banana bark, and then proceeded to cut them out in their individual petals and started painting them the yellow color. Then I realized I wanted them to be cupped a little, so I put them on PVC piping and added the extra red to the center of the hibiscus, the way the red is more dominant. So this is how I had them dry, so that they would remain in these cupped, petal forms. The middle of the hibiscus, I needed to find something that would look like the stamens and all that other stuff. So I took a Harry Lauder's walking stick with a curly branch, and I ended up drilling little tiny holes with small drill bits, as you can see right there at the end. And in each hole, I then put some seeded eucalyptus, and the top was a cupped eucalyptus to give the same look that a hibiscus has. That's very dominant in a hibiscus. In the fall and into the winter, you can get these little proteas called Jubilee Crown, and they're beautiful at Christmas time. I like to use them in decorations and whatnot. Well, they do dry, and when they dry, they look like little tiny flowers. So what I like to do is allow them to dry, and they open up, and then you're left with this cute little flower. And then I just added them as they are because I think they're so sweet. To bring in the bejeweled part for this assignment, I took white peppers and I painted them to look like pearls, and then a cupped eucalyptus that I secured on a piece of twisted raffia. Now, the reason it's sitting here on top of a plastic bag is I glued it together, and with some of these glues, like crazy glue or even epoxy, they tend to not stick as well on a plastic surface. I glued them there and I let it dry so that I could detach it later and they'd be very secure. Now to get the leaves, I took sala leaves, we call them lemon leaf in our area. And they were nice and fresh. I bought them fresh, and I actually did use the microwave. You don't need to use the microwave when you're drying products, but I wanted these leaves to dry flat. So if you put it in silica gel and you can put them in the microwave for a couple minutes, it will dry. You can test them. They come out, they change color. And then at the back, I put a little coat of epoxy so that they wouldn't be as fragile. Now, to spray paint these, to make them look like a leaf, I used these 3 different colors. The base was basil, and then a little bright olive on there, and then a little bit of fresh green to make it look more two-toned than you would normally see with just one color paint. Put it all together, we have the walking stick, eucalyptus, banana bark, white pepper, raffia, rhododendron, this banana bark, and the salata leaves, the protea. And here is the look all together when I glued it together. The bud that I used was from a rhododendron. That was probably the hardest part about this because when you dry a live bud, it will tend to open. So I used the microwave and some silica gel. It took me quite a few times in the microwave to try it because it kept opening. Finally, I got one that dried closed. So I was happy with that.